Howdy folks, welcome to the brewery, brew day, and got a very big beer on at the moment, and this is unplanned, mostly unplanned anyway. I'm doing the BFO Stout, BFO, Big Fuck Off Stout. Now, the idea come about from Kevin Bristol. I'm pointing the finger squarely at Kevin Bristol for this, from the hopping mechanism. About a week ago he's sent me a message. He'd been working up a few labels and things on his little label printer, and he'd knocked up some mock Little John's labels, and he's basically asked me if I'd like him to knock some up for me. And in amongst them was a label for a Big Fuck Off Stout at 12.3% ABV. He had it labelled out on this sticker, and I just saw it. I thought, it just bang, I've got to do that. So here we are. It's quite late on a Sunday afternoon. It's really not the time I should be starting the brew. I've never done a brew this late, certainly on a Sunday. But anyway, that's where we're at. It's currently 4:30, but hey, doesn't really matter. The beer doesn't know what time I got made. So, got this idea from Kev. So then I had to sit down and work out a recipe and build it to get to this 12.3%. Now, that's not an easy task to do. 12.3 is a very big beer. And takes a little bit of effort to get there, but well, no worries, love a crack. So I've run the recipe together, and we're about to do. So I've got mash water on. I'm doing a 14 litre batch because that's about the biggest batch I can get out on my equipment without going bit crazy and double handling and mucking around and carrying on. So that's where we are, and reality is, who needs much more than 14 litres of a 12% plus stout? So that's all good. So I've got 33 litres of water in the nano. That's full volume. Not mucking around with sparging or anything, just straight up. So, water's been treated. The recipe's down below, so you can have a look at that. It's got all the information in there. I've just aimed for a little bit more hardness in the water than what I'd go for most brews. Fairly, not particularly, but it's heavy gypsum over chloride. Calcium over chloride. I've got some extra magnesium and some salts just to bring it up a little bit, and also to counteract the crashing of the pH that you can get with the dark range. Not that there's an expressly large amount of dark range in this brew, but there's dark range. So the grains are 73% Voyager Valoria, 4 and a bit percent flaked oats, just quick oats, 3.6% Voyager chocolate malt, and 3.1% Gladfield rolled wheat, flaked wheat, and 2.5% of Voyager roast barley. Which gets us 8.28 kilos of grain, which is why I haven't got really any bigger, because that's fairly well maxed out. And you'll see when you're looking at the mashing, there's not a lot of room left in that 50 litre nano. I had initially thought about doing it in the Brewzilla, and I'm glad I talked myself out of that, because it was never ever going to fit in there. So anyway, so got that, milled them up, got them in the pot. We've mashed that in. You see there, not a lot of room left there. Gonna mash that for 45 minutes and then raise it up to 72. So sitting on about 66 degrees. So then I'll raise it to 72 and that'll be it. Given the size of that grain bag, I'm not going to try to pull it out. I'm just going to drain the kettle slowly via gravity, and get that into the brewzilla. So don't know how long that'll take, but we'll have a look. Okay, so I'm transferring from the nano pot just in the bucket, so I'm just using gravity feed for sort of not pulling that bag out, because Robo Brews here, it's not enough fall to keep gravity feed happening, so I'm going to the bucket, so I'm just into a bucket, then she goes into the Robo Brew, which is coming up to a boil. And this seems to be working, so I was a bit concerned I wasn't going to get good drainage, but all good. 1061 is gravity at the moment, so we'll look at the hops and numbers, we'll see if that's actually travelling alright. Righto, we have hot break. I'm a bit concerned about the gravity. It's under, but I've got a little bit extra volume, so I'm just in the process of trying to decide whether to just run a 2-hour boil and boil off the extra volume and hope I get to final volume, which I feel I'm going to be close, or whether I throw in a little bit of dark dry malt just to reduce the amount of time I need to boil off and keep a little bit of final volume. Just not sure which way to go. If I don't put malt in now, it's going to be pretty hard to chase it later. Righto, so hops on this are 58 grams of EKG at 60 minutes to get 32 IBU. 16 grams of Sabro at 40 minutes for 18 IBU, and then another 58 grams of EKG at 10 minutes for another 12 IBU. So all up 62 IBU. We'll pop them in once the 10 minutes is done. We're just gonna cool. Now getting a little lazy. It's 8 o'clock, just after. It is absolutely freezing outside, and I can't be bothered running around bloody fucking around the hose and the chiller. So I'm just running the kettle just through the recirc. We'll have a quick look. Alright, boil's completed. It's gone 2 hours. I've got looks like about 17 litres in the kettle, looking for 14 in the fermenter, so I think we're going to get pretty close. Just taking a sample, so I'll have a sit down and look at the final numbers. So cooling's underway. It's already down to about 80 degrees. It's taken about maybe 7 or 8 minutes to get down there. So I'll just let it run for a little bit longer, get it down to under 70. I'll shut off the recirc, but at the moment that's doing a good job of getting some aeration going on anyway. Might even run a little bit longer, try and get it a bit cooler. So the plan at the moment is leave it overnight, and I'll pitch yeast in the morning. So right now I just want to get a bloody gravity on this, because it's hot. I can't get a hydro sample. I've just taken off a bloody bit of a reef rack, not enough for a reef rack. This will get us an idea. Okay, and that's given me about 1097. Now I've got still 300, well, by recipe, 300 grams of Dex and half a kilo of dark brown sugar to go in. So that's going to get pretty close to that mark. I don't know really what the exact target right now is. So I just bring the recipe up. If I take out the brown sugar and the dextrose, okay, that brings me to 103. So we're still a little bit off that, not too far. That's all good. So I'll just have a look at getting a proper gravity reading in the morning before I pitch, and I can make an adjustment from there. Might need to put another 100 to 200 grams of malt in there just to get up to that number. Normally I wouldn't worry, I just go, okay, well, I'm not too worried. If it means starting at 11, 14 instead of 11, 20, I wouldn't be too concerned with it, because I've got these stickers coming from Kev. I've got to hit that 12 point. Well, I've got to be starting in the right place to try and hit that 12.3. That's the idea. So I'll adjust as I need to. I'll stick that in the comments, whatever I end up doing to get to that number. For now, that's all good. So I will be pitching this 2 packets of Nottingham and 1 packet of USO 5. I would ideally be pitching M42 strong ale, but I haven't got any, and I'm not waiting around to get some. I want to get it on, so I'm just using what I've got. So Nottingham's going to handle the alcohol. The USO 5 won't handle the alcohol. It will stop out. It's not going to get. It'll only get to about 9% before it'll just stop working. But the Nottingham will continue on. So the O5 will help with some of the lifting. The idea is I'll get this fermenting, and then once it's up and going and active and got a good ferment going, each day I'll just feed some of the sugar in. So at the moment we're looking at 800 grams of the sugar. I'll basically drop maybe 150, 200 grams of the sugar into the fermenter yeah, every other day for them. So give the yeast time to build up its numbers and get healthy, and then slowly feed that sugar in and build up the alcohol content slowly, so the yeast isn't getting a big shock and it doesn't stop and die out. I would normally finish these big beers with a Abbey yeast to make sure it finishes out, but I'm going to try to avoid that with this brew. So see how that goes. But anyway, that's her. She's pretty dark. It's not super dark just at the moment. It will pick up a little bit of colour yet from the dark brown sugar. But it's tasting good. So yeah, looking forward to where we finish with this fella. So guys, that's it. I think this whole day's been a little bit of a mess, but anyway, we got there. BFO, the Big Fuck Off Stout, 12.3%. Thank you, Kev Bristol. Any questions or comments, stick them down the bottom as always. There's links down there to Patreon. Thank you to all the patrons of the channel. There's thumbs up if you like what's going on. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Ring the little bell, get notified when any videos come up. You don't miss anything that's going on that way. But that's for now. That's me done. So till I see you again, we're brewing beer, drinking beer or talking beer. Good brewing.